120 millimeters of rain about to hit Scotland. That's not the forecast for the entire month. That is the figure for this week alone. Right now, as you re-listening to these words, a massive rain system is heading straight for northern Britain. And the most concerning part, the forecast models have just completely changed. What we thought would happen 3 days ago is no longer accurate. Imagine this. You wake up on Friday morning, look out the window, rains is still falling. But wait, why is the water so high on the streets? Why are the winds so strong that trees are bending? This is exactly the situation thousands of people in eastern Scotland are facing right now. And here's what you need to know immediately. The Met Office has issued an amber warning, not yellow. Amber. What does that mean? It means danger to life. It means severe disruption. It means you need to prepare right now. But before we dive into the details, there is an important question. Why is this rain more dangerous than what we usually see? The answer lies in 3 factors combining together. And I'll reveal the third factor, the most dangerous one, at the 3-minute mark of this video. But first, let us talk about the first 2 factors. Factor 1, accumulation totals. We're not talking about 50 or 60 millimeters. We're talking about over 120 millimeters. Think about that number. If you take a ruler, stand it upright on the ground, the rainwater would reach about 12 centimeters high. That's nearly the length of a smartphone. All that rain falling within less than a week. Factor 2, terrain. The Aberdeen, Perth, and Kinross areas aren't flat land. These are mountainous, hilly regions. When rain falls on mountains, it doesn't simply soak into the ground. It runs off. It concentrates. It creates torrents. And when that happens, flash floods can appear within minutes. But now let's pause for a moment. I know this sounds frightening, and it is. But don't worry, because in the next 30 seconds, I'll tell you exactly what you need to do to stay safe. First thing, check your basement and low areas in your home today. Not tomorrow. Today. Move everything valuable to higher ground. Important documents, electronics, sentimental items. If you have an underground car park, check the drains. Clear them. Make sure no leaves or debris are blocking them. Second thing, prepare an emergency bag. Backup battery for your phone, torch, batteries, bottled water, essential medications, dry food that can be eaten without cooking. Why? Because if the power goes out, you don't want to trudge through rain to buy supplies. Third thing, and this is the most important, know your evacuation route. If water starts rising, where will you go? A neighbor's house on higher ground, a community center? Wait until it's too late to think about this. Right now, you've got your action plan. But let's get back to the forecast because there is something very strange happening. And the third factor I promised to reveal. Snow. Yes, you heard that right. Right in the middle of all this talk about heavy rain, snow will appear too. But how can that happen? R&T temperatures above freezing? Here's why. The Grampian Mountains. As you go higher, temperature drops. About 6 degrees Celsius for every 1,000 meters of altitude. At 300 to 400 meters elevation, it'll be cold enough for rain to turn to snow. And this isn't a light, pretty snow. This is wet, heavy snow that accumulates quickly. Wet snow has weight, serious weight. 50 millimeters of wet snow can weigh as much as 500 kilograms per square meter, enough to collapse weak roofs, enough to bring down power lines, enough to turn mountain roads into death traps. And now, add another factor to that, wind. Southeasterly winds, strong, persistent, strong enough to create large waves along the coast. But it does something else too. It pushes the rain. It holds the rain in one place. Instead of moving through the area and dissipating, this rain system will linger day after day after day. Can you see the full picture now? Heavy rain, snow on the mountains, strong winds, all at the same time, all in the same area. This is the recipe for disaster. But wait, there's a question you must be asking yourself. Why have the forecast models changed? What happened? Here's the truth about weather forecasting. It's not perfect. Computer models run thousands of calculations, but the atmosphere is a chaotic system. A small change in one place can create enormous effects elsewhere. 3 days ago, models thought this low-pressure system would move faster, but it's slowed down, it's changed direction slightly, and now, instead of sweeping across Scotland in 1 day, it'll linger for 3 days. 3 days. Think about that. 3 days of continuous rain, 3 days of strong winds, 3 days of the ground absorbing water until it can absorb anymore. And then the water has to go somewhere. It'll flow into rivers, into streams, into streets, into homes. And now I need to tell you about something most people don't realize. The greatest danger from flooding isn't deep water. It is flowing water. Just 15 centimeters of flowing water can knock down an adult. 30 centimeters can sweep away a car. And you can tell how deep water is just by looking. The road surface might be eroded underneath. There could be a 1 meter deep hole that you can just see until it's too late. So here's the most important rule. Never drive through flood water. Never walk through flood water. If you can to see the road surface, don't risk it. Turn around, find another route. Being 30 minutes late is better than losing your life. All right, we've talked about Scotland. But what about the rest of the United Kingdom? The good news is most of Britain won to experience this extreme level of rainfall. But that doesn't mean you will stay dry. Far from it. Most areas will see showers. Some places will have heavy rain. The southwest will see heavy showers moving in, and there's a drier slot developing in the far southwest, but don't get too excited. It won't last long. What about temperatures? Most places will have temperatures actually slightly above average, similar to yesterday. But when you add in the wet, blustery winds, it'll feel much colder than the thermometer shows. And on the east coast, that's where the easterly winds start becoming noticeable. Fresher feel, colder winds. This is a sign of something bigger coming. Tonight, rain continues across northern Scotland. Snow starts falling at around 300 to 400 metres elevation, and it'll accumulate. Slowly at first, then faster as night progresses. By Friday morning, some mountain roads could be impassable. A drier slot will spread into parts of Wales and central England. Sounds good, doesn't it? But there's a problem. With clearer skies, temperatures will drop. Mist and fog could form. By Friday morning, visibility could drop below 100 metres in some areas. If you must drive early morning, exercise double caution. But behind that drier slot, another threat is arriving. Another area of low pressure, and this one will bring a very wet and windy day on Friday to the southwest. By Friday morning, temperatures will drop to around 4 or 5 degrees Celsius quite widely. Not terribly cold by winter standards, but with the wind and dampness, it'll feel much more bitter. And those easterly winds, they will bring quite a cold feel to parts of Scotland in particular. We're not talking about Arctic northerlies, but cold enough that you will need an extra layer when venturing out. Friday will be a pretty miserable day once again for northeastern Scotland. The yellow rainfall warning remains in force. That means conditions are still serious, just slightly less dangerous than the amber warning. Meanwhile, this area of low pressure pushes a band of rain northwards across the country, showers breaking out here and there, some brighter spells, the risk of these being quite heavy. But what you really need to watch on Friday is the wind. Winds could be quite strong around this low pressure area, particularly across parts of Cornwall. We could see gusts up to 50 or 60 miles per hour, enough to knock over wheelie bins, enough to snap tree branches, enough to make driving dangerous, especially for high-sided vehicles. So by Friday afternoon, some areas will see slightly drier weather, but don't expect a major change. Conditions remain quite unsettled. And actually, Friday will be a fresher day than Thursday. That wind, combined with rain, will make everything feel quite fresh indeed. What about the weekend? I know that's the question everyone is asking. Do we get a break? Can we have some sunshine? The short answer, not really. It stays unsettled across more southern areas as we head into the weekend. Those easterly winds become more dominant across northern areas. And what does that mean? Colder air, cloudier skies, less chance of sunshine. But here's the thing. The models are still changing. What we think will happen on Sunday could change by tomorrow. That is why you need to keep monitoring continuously. And this is where you can help. Leave a comment telling us where you live. Tell us your town or city. Why? Because we can give you more specific forecasts for your area. Weather in Manchester is different from weather in Brighton. Weather in Edinburgh is different from weather in Inverness. So tell us where you are and we'll make sure you get the most accurate information. Now let's talk about something most people overlook: the cumulative impact of bad weather. 1 day of rain, no problem. 2 days of rain, bit annoying. 3 days of rain, starting to cause issues. 4, 5, 6 days of rain. Now you've got a serious situation. The ground can absorb water infinitely. It's like a sponge. At first, it soaks up water easily, but after a while, it becomes saturated. Every additional drop just runs off. That's what is happening in eastern Scotland. The ground is already wet from previous rainfall. Now add another 120 millimeters. There's nowhere for it to go. It has to run off the surface. Into rivers, into streams, into homes, and the drainage systems, they redesigned for a certain amount of water. But when you exceed that capacity, they can to keep up. Water starts pooling, streets become rivers, underground car parks become lakes. This is why we are not talking about individual rain showers. We were talking about the cumulative impact of multiple days of continuous rain. And here is something else to think about: infrastructure. Bridges are designed to withstand a certain amount of water flow, but when river levels rise, the flow increases. Pressure on bridges increases. In most cases, nothing happens. Bridges hold. But sometimes, especially with older, weaker bridges, there can be problems. Railways? When tracks flood, trains can run. It is simply not safe. So if you're planning to travel by train in the coming days, especially in Scotland, check ahead. Expect delays. Expect cancellations. Roads? We've talked about flooding. But there's another danger: landslides. When ground becomes saturated with water, it becomes heavier. It becomes less stable. On slopes, especially in hilly areas, that can mean landslips. Soil, rocks, and mud sliding down hillsides, sometimes slowly, sometimes suddenly. And if you are on the road when it happens, you have very little time to react. So if you are driving in hilly areas, watch for warning signs: water flowing onto the road unusually, small rocks on the road surface, cracks in the tarmac. These could be early warning signs that something is wrong. Right, we've talked a lot about dangers, but let's talk about what you can do. Positive actions you can take right now. Thing 1, information. Sign up for flood alerts. The government has a free service. They'll send you text messages or emails if there's flood risk in your area. Takes 5 minutes to register. It could save your property. It could save your life. Thing 2, insurance. Check your policy. Are you covered for flood damage? Many people think they are, but when they check, they realize they are not. Don't wait until it's too late. Check now. Thing 3, preparation. We've talked about emergency bags, but there are other things. Sandbags can block water from entering doorways. You can buy them or make them. Just fill strong plastic bags with sand or soil. Stack them in front of doors. It's not perfect, but it can make a difference. Thing 4, community. Check on your neighbors, especially elderly or vulnerable people. Do they know about the warnings? Are they prepared? Do they need help? A simple knock on the door can make a huge difference. Thing 5, documentation. Photograph your property. That sounds odd, but if you need to make an insurance claim, having evidence of what you owned helps enormously. Photograph your rooms, your furniture, your electronics. Store photos in the cloud so they're not lost if your phone gets damaged. Now, I promised you something at the 5-minute mark, and we've reached it. Here's what I want to share. Why do some houses flood and others don't, even when they on the same street? The answer often lies in small details. The orientation of the house. A house just a few centimeters lower can make a huge difference. The type of soil under the foundation. Clay doesn't drain well. Sand is better. The condition of drainage systems. If gutters are blocked with leaves, rainwater can escape. It overflows. It runs into the house. So go outside right now. Check your gutters. Check your drains. Remove any blockages. It seems like a small thing, but it could be the difference between a dry house and a flooded house. And here's another thing. Doorways. Water tends to find ways in through doorways. If you have gaps under doors, that's the path water will take. You can buy flood barrier door seals. They're made of absorbent material that expands when wet, creating a barrier. Cost about £10 to £20. A small investment that could save thousands in damage. Now let's talk about something people often ask. Why is the weather so bad? Is it climate change? Here's the truth. Bad weather has always existed. The United Kingdom has always had rain, always had storms. But there's evidence that extreme weather events are becoming more frequent and more intense. Warmer air holds more moisture. That means when it rains, it can rain harder. Weather patterns are changing. Low pressure systems are moving more slowly, meaning they linger longer in one place. Is this direct proof of climate change? We can say any specific storm is caused by climate change, but the trend is clear. And that trend is worrying. But regardless of the cause, the fact remains we need to prepare, we need to adapt, we need to build resilience. And that brings me to an important point. This isn't the last storm. There will be more. Maybe not next week, maybe not next month, but they will come. So what you learn from this experience, apply it. If you discover your basement floods, do something about it. Improve drainage, move things to higher ground, install pumps. Don't just clean up and hope it doesn't happen again. If you discover your usual route floods, remember that. Next time there's a flood warning, take a different route. Don't think it'll be different this time. It'll probably be the same. Or worse, learn, adapt, prepare. Right, we've talked about the present and near future. But what about further ahead? What about next week, 2 weeks from now? Honestly, it's difficult to say. Models are still changing. But there are some indications that this weather pattern, this unsettled and wet weather, might continue for a while. That doesn't mean continuous rain every day, but it does mean more low-pressure systems. More rain, more wind, less sunshine. And for those hoping for some traditional cold winter weather, snow and ice and clear blue skies, sorry, but it's not looking very likely in the near future. The easterly winds could bring colder air, and if they are strong enough, we might see temperatures drop enough for some snow in lower areas, but right now, it looks like the air will be just warm enough to keep most precipitation as rain rather than snow. But keep checking. As I said, these models are changing. What we think today could be different tomorrow. And here's another reminder. Leave a comment telling us where you are. It helps us give you the best information possible. Whether you are in Aberdeen or Plymouth, Edinburgh or Exeter, let us know. We are here to help. Weather can be unpredictable, it can be dangerous, but with the right information and the right preparation, you can weather this storm. Stay safe, stay prepared, and we'll see you in the next video with the secrets weather experts use to predict accurately. But right now, your priority is safety. Follow the advice we've given. Prepare, monitor, and most importantly, be careful. And remember, leave a comment telling us where you live. We want to make sure you get the best possible forecast for your area. Whether you're in Aberdeen or Plymouth, Edinburgh or Exeter, let us know. We're here to help. The weather may be unpredictable. It may be dangerous. But with the right information and the right preparation, you can get through this storm. Now, before we finish, let's summarize the key points, because I know this is a lot of information and I want to make sure you remember the most important things. Point 1. Eastern Scotland is facing very heavy rainfall, over 120 millimeters by the end of the week. Amber warning in force. This is serious. If you are in the affected area, prepare now. Point 2. Snow on high ground, 300 to 400 meters and above. Mountain roads could be dangerous or impassable. If you don't need to travel, don T. Point 3. Wind. Strong, especially around low pressure systems. Careful when driving, particularly high-sided vehicles. Watch for flying objects. Make sure garden furniture is secured. Point 4, the rest of the United Kingdom will see showers and some periods of heavier rain, not as extreme as Scotland, but still enough to cause disruption. Plan for it. Point 5, prepare. Emergency bag, important documents protected, know your evacuation route, check gutters and drains. These small things can make a big difference. Point 6, don't drive through flood water, ever. It's not worth it. Turn around, find another route. Point 7, keep monitoring. The situation is evolving. What is true today might not be true tomorrow. Check updates regularly. And finally, point 8, stay safe. That is the most important thing. No appointment, no schedule, no plan is more important than your safety. But this isn't to the end. Oh no, because I've got something special for you. In the next video, we were going to dive into something most weather forecasts don't tell you. We'll talk about the science behind forecasting, how the models actually work, why they read sometimes wrong, and most importantly, how you can learn to read the signs for yourself. Imagine being able to look at the sky and know what the weather will do in the next few hours. No app, no forecast, just your understanding of how weather works. That's what we'll teach you in the next video, the signs to watch for, what they mean, how to combine them into a picture that tells you exactly what's about to happen. Does that sound useful? Would you like to learn those skills? If so, make sure you stay tuned, because that video is coming soon. And it'll change the way you look at weather forever. But right now, your priority is safety. Follow the advice we've given. Prepare, monitor, and most importantly, be careful. Stay safe, stay prepared, and we'll see you in the next video with the secrets that weather professionals use to